Christian Family Radio, where it's Wednesday and we enjoy Money Mindset, where we help you look at your money as a tool, not just as a goal.
And April is Financial Literacy Month, and looking at the different biblical principles of our finances, that second one being how to be wise with our debt. And just in the U.S. alone, latest number from this past year, $1.1 trillion. That's how much debt in household debt we have as a country. And man, how do we overcome that, Clark? When we look at debt, how do we be wise about picking and choosing what things we get into debt for?
Yeah, it's a great question, Derek. And that $1.1 trillion is credit card debt only.
Ouch, that's just the plastic.
That doesn't include student loans. That doesn't include the mortgage or auto loans.
Ouch.
That's just starting with one. So it is something that has to be addressed. And debt is a very sensitive or sticky conversation a lot of times because it's become, quite frankly, just very ingrained in American culture. And everybody feels differently about it and was raised with a different mindset about debt. But if we go back to Scripture, it does give us some pretty concise guidelines to keep in mind. So one of those is, from a strictly number sense, we should not take on debt unless the economic benefit is greater than the economic cost. An example might be a home, for example. Over time, your home should, most homes do, increase in value.
Right.
They go up.
Right. That makes sense.
They become worth more money. That increase in value should outpace the amount of interest that you pay on the home.
Okay.
So there, in that sense, the benefit or the growth is more than the interest cost. That's one factor. A second factor is, if you are married, is your spouse in total agreement? Are you completely on the same page with that?
It's a good checkpoint, definitely.
If you're single, have you talked to somebody else about it? That's a big deal. It's a big deal. And then third, is there a guaranteed way to repay? And I wouldn't consider your income a guaranteed way to repay.
What would be one of those?
Good question, Derek. So that would be, is there enough money in the bank or accessible to you that if something happened, you could pay a lump sum on it? Or we talked about the example of the home. Worst case scenario, if you lose your job, you can always sell your home to pay off the mortgage and then use the proceeds elsewhere. So that would be an example of that. But your income really isn't considered a guaranteed way to repay, because our jobs, although they're pretty stable, you never know.
Right. If you've heard something today and you're interested in learning more, head on over to ChristianFamilyRadio.com, or you can go to LockShieldPartners.com.